The two popes reveal and what it means for the end times, what it means for the last days. I'm Jeffrey Daugherty, the Christian Whistleblower. Welcome to the Christian Whistleblower channel, and we're glad to have you here. You may not like everything you hear here, and that's okay. I don't really care. All I want is to give you the information you need to decide for yourself what you want to do, what you want to believe, where you want to go. So we're here to help you guide your own spirit, master your own ascension, and be your own guru. And nice to see Amanda B from Down Under in the chat room. Nice to see you, folks, and glad that you're here. And today we're going to talk about the popes. We're going to talk about a lot of cool stuff that I think makes a big difference in life. And I'm still trying to get this green screen working perfectly, but it looks like it's going to be one of those things that I deal with, and that's okay. We'll continue to deal with it. So, folks, I did want to remind you we have a brand new sponsor. We do have the C60 sponsor, C60 Purple Power. It's really good stuff. I've been taking it for about 3 weeks. It makes a big difference in my life. It's the most powerful antioxidant that there is on the planet. It helps you drop a bunch of the heavy metals. It's very, very good for you from start to finish. Go to c60purplepower.com and put in the code TCW, like the Christian Whistleblower 10, TCW10, the best C60 out there. There's a lot of fake C60, but this is made by my good friend Ken, and you know Glenn that we had on just a few days ago. Ken actually taught Glenn how to make it. Great stuff, and it will do you good. C60 Purple Power. It really is purple. C60purplepower.com. TCW10 is the Cynthia's shining shoes. See, I put her to work. I know how to keep things real. And if you think that's true. But anyway, folks, let's talk about the popes before this thing gets sideways on us, because I have a feeling it could go sideways on us if we're not really careful. Did you know, ladies and gentlemen, that, right now we've got two popes. We've got two popes. Two popes out in the open. We've got two popes. And there's always been two popes, ladies and gentlemen. There's always been the front pope, which is the Pope in white, the Pope at the Vatican that comes out, greets all the people, does all the hominas, that Pope. And then there's always been what they call the Black Pope, ladies and gentlemen. And the Black Pope is the Superior General of the Society of Jesus. That's the official title of the leader of the Jesuits. And the Roman Catholic religious order known as the Jesuits, he is called the Black Pope. He's generally addressed as Father General. Isn't that interesting? Father General. The position sometimes carries the nickname of the Black Pope, says Encyclopedia Britannica, because of his responsibility for the largest Catholic religious order, and he's contrasted to the white garb of the Pope. So you got a Pope and an anti-Pope, really. You got a white Pope and you got a Black Pope. You've got a front Pope that is probably a figurehead, and then you've got a Black Pope, which is the real power behind the church. Because don't kid yourself, ladies and gentlemen. The person that is the most powerful is the person with the most powerful army. And the Jesuits from their beginning have been, ladies and gentlemen, an army. So the Black Pope has always been more powerful than the white Pope. And the leader of the Jesuits has always been, ladies and gentlemen, the Black Pope. And he's always been in the background. So now, folks, we have, as you see behind me and as you see on the thumbnail for this show, they've now revealed to us that there's two popes. For the very first time in history, folks, they have revealed the two popes secret to us now, and I want to ask why. Do you know, folks, that there have never, ever been two popes at the same time, two front popes? Now, I was going to wait and see how historically versed some of our subscribers are, because there's never, ever been two popes at the same time. I'm waiting for somebody to throw up that there was a thing way back in, when was it? It was in 1378, a situation came up where somebody would say, oh, there's two popes. It was in 1378, there was two popes. But there really wasn't two popes. And let me tell you why there wasn't two popes. There was two popes, but there wasn't two popes. There were two popes because the church had split. So there was, for a short period of time, Pope in Church A, Pope in Church B. So there really was only one Pope in each church, but there were two popes total. So was there really two popes? Yes and no, but mainly no. So no, ever has there ever been. There has never been, ladies and gentlemen, two popes at the same time. Never. And yet here we are today, 2020, and there's two popes. Why are they now telling us this? And why is it in plain sight? Why are they telling us that there's two popes? It's kind of a reveal that, oh, there's always been two popes. But now they're telling us outwardly that there's always been two popes. And folks, think of the popes that are here right now. You got Ratzinger. I guess his pope name is Benedict. Ratzinger, the German. Pope Benedict, he's the one over this, where am I at? I got the reverse thing. He's the one over here. That's Ratzinger. And he is there. And then you got the other guy, of course, Francis. But Ratzinger was the Pope. And then here comes Francis to be the Pope. Because Ratzinger, can you believe Ratzinger retired, resigned? Popes don't resign. So over here comes Francis. And what is unique about Francis as far as popes go? Not his dress. He dresses the same as all the rest of them. Jeannie Griffin wins the prize because Francis is a Jesuit. He's the first Jesuit pope. So think of it. There's always been a Jesuit pope, the Black Pope. The Black Pope's always been the real power behind the church. So now we're going to let people know, we're going to let people in on the game that there's always been two popes. And we're going to let them in on the game that the Jesuit Pope, the Black Pope, has always been the Pope of power. So it's called disclosure, ladies and gentlemen, but most of you are too busy, and most of the other YouTubers are too busy lying to you and telling you fairy tales to give you the implications of this disclosure. So why now they're doing it? Number one, because they are revealing to you the secret that there's always been two popes. They're revealing to you the secret that the Jesuit Pope, the Black Pope, has always been in charge. And now they're just bringing it out into the open that the Jesuit Pope has always been in charge. Why are they doing it? Very, very interesting speculation. Why are they doing it? What's going on? Let's think about it. I think they're out of time. But I'm not so sure, from the time I wrote this a couple hours ago till the time that I'm delivering it now, I'm not so sure that it's as open and shut a case as I thought it was earlier. They know their time is running out. They know their 1,000-year reign is up. They know they're about out of time. They know that their last day's agenda is this close to being a failure. Or is it? Or is it? And do they really care? Do they really care? I mean, think about what's happening. We now know that there have always been two popes. We now know that white pope has always been a figurehead, and black pope, Jesuit pope, has always been the true power within the church. They're showing us this now. They're pulling back the curtains, letting us see that there's not one man behind the curtain, but two, and one of them pulls the switches, the other one is just a figurehead. So they're showing us that. And what does this have to do with the real important stuff that we talk about? Well, I think this is pretty important. But what does it have to do with the last days? What does it have to do with the end times? Well, the last days and the end times are nothing but a fairy tale made up by the Jesuits. And now, in the days of the the first Jesuit pope, in the days of the first Jesuit pope, they're showing us things that we've never seen before. They're giving us disclosure like we've never seen before. And in the days of the first Jesuit pope, we're bringing, between myself and Joseph Atwill, information that's never been out here before, connecting dots and showing you what the truth is about eschatology. The first pope that's a Jesuit comes to power at the same time where we find out and are reminded again that prophecy is history. Literally, it is history because it's been disproven, but it's literally history. The rapture happened back in AD 70. It didn't really happen, but it happened in AD 70. The abomination of desolation happened back in AD 70. The second coming happened back in AD 70. The Great Tribulation happened back in AD 70. The opening of the seven seals happened back in AD 70. Ladies and gentlemen, prophecy is history. And anyone that teaches you different is lying to you. They're making merchandise of you. They're trying to scare you so they can control you and so they can milk you for money and milk you for energy. It's just a plain fact. And I'm not here trying to scare you. I'm trying to reassure you. I'm not here trying to get you to be dependent on me. I'm trying to get you to be independent of me. I don't come to you saying I bring you the message from some father, mother, sister, brother, aunt, uncle, second cousin, twice removed. No. We don't say that we're special. We don't have a special message. All we did is read. And apparently everybody else has forgotten how to read in context. That's all we do. And we remind you of it. But why today and why now? Well, think of it. I've been thinking that they're out of time, they're panicking, and they are just at their wits' end of what to do, and they've got to tell all these stories, all these truths. They've got to give us disclosure because it's natural law, and that all may be true. But what if they really don't care? Something hit me today as I was getting ready to do this. The whole fact of the matter is that Rome wrote the New Testament. I've proven it to you. I'll continue to prove it. And even beyond the shadow of any doubter, Rome wrote the New Testament. Rome invented Jesus. I've shown you this, but I'm going to show you even in more greater clarity and detail. And the thing that I forgot is that Rome didn't do this to keep it a secret forever. Rome knew that sooner or later we would figure it out. Rome knew that sooner or later people were going to figure out that they invented Jesus. They knew we'd figure it out. It's written to have it figured out. They knew that sooner or later we were going to figure out that all of prophecy happened in AD 70. They knew that we would figure this out sooner or later. The people that wrote the New Testament, the Romans, they knew it would happen. I think they're surprised that we were so stupid and it took us this long. I think that they thought we'd know before now. But as we go back and we think about the 1,000 years, they were given 1,000 years to reign. Where did they come up with that number? Venus, you need to listen a little bit more, and we'll get you up to speed because you're not even close to the truth. Watch about the last 10 videos that I've done and keep watching the last 10 videos. Thank you, sweetheart. But listen to this, folks. And where was I going before I forgot about that? Rome. Where was I going? I'm going to rewind myself and listen to myself again. But Rome knew it was going to be figured out. Rome knew that we were going to figure it out. They're surprised it took us this long, the 1,000 years. That's what I'm talking about, the 1,000 years. How did they know that it would take about 1,000 years for us to figure it out? Remember, this happened in AD 70. You had 1,000 years to AD 70. You've got 1,070. And if, as I'm conjecturing and about to prove to you in the days and weeks to come, 1,000 years was added to history. They didn't really add 1,000 years. They just added a 1 and poof, there's 1,000. So really, instead of it being 2020 right now, it's 1020 right now. And they thought that it would last till 1070. Pretty close. When you're talking about 1,000 years and you can nail it down to within 40, 50, 30 years, boom, you're getting pretty good. Life, Garden, and Hopketo says, because they've done this before, I begin to think they may have done this before, ladies and gentlemen. And that's why maybe they're not so worried. Maybe they're not so afraid. Maybe they're not so scared. What's 50 years between friends, right? Remote viewing. Did they do it by remote viewing? Wow. I am Nancy, who's high as shit right now. Is either got a joint in her hand or is hitting a bong hard. We love you, Nancy. That's some funny shit. But she says that's the question she could not put together. Oh man, ladies and gentlemen, good stuff. How did they know it's going to be 1,000 years? Really, really good guess. Really, really good students of human nature. Seen it all before, done it all before. Is this whole thing just one big cycle after another? And are we the ones that are just getting tested during this cycle? I don't know. I really don't know, ladies and gentlemen. But it makes for very interesting speculation. And regardless of how they knew, they got pretty darn close with that 1,000-year prediction. Because it's about 50 or so years left in this 1,000-year cycle. And it is coming unglued for them, but they knew it was going to come unglued. The New Testament is written to be discovered that it's a Roman document. It's written to be discovered that they invented Jesus. It's written to be discovered that that Jesus is a type of Titus, and that Jesus's ministry is a type of Titus's military campaigns. It's plain to see, and they made it and wrote it so it would be plain to see eventually. But is that the only reason they wrote it that way? And we're going to have Joseph Atwell back on before too long. Is that the only reason they wrote it that way? You know, I sometimes think probably a little more that I'm a little more important than I really am. Sometimes it's possible I think I'm a little more important than I really am. And the reality is I think that we're a little more important than we really are. Because think about it. Look at this earth right now. They say there's 7 billion people. Let's say, okay, there's 7 billion people. About half of them, ladies and gentlemen, about half of them are Roman Catholics or Roman Protestants. About half of them are under the spell of Rome. About a half of them worship the Roman Emperor Francis. They started worshiping the Roman Emperor Titus. Now they're worshiping the Roman Emperor Francis, and they don't even know it. And, oh, man, it feels good to be worshiped, and you don't even know that you're worshiping them. But now they're finding out, and they'll still keep worshiping them, and that feels even better. The people that created this now know that we know and that we're still worshiping them even though we know. Can you imagine how cool that must feel to not only trick somebody, tell them that you're going to trick them, tell them they're going to find out that you tricked them, and then once they find out you tricked them and find out that they knew that you were going to trick them, then they'll still worship you even though they know they've been tricked. You cannot read the New Testament and listen to the information presented by Joseph Atwell and yours truly without realizing you're worshiping Caesar. You've been played for a fool and they won. You can't help but notice it, but you will still turn off your ears. You will still close your eyes. You won't zip your mouth. I wish you would. But you'll still turn off everything but the yapper, and you'll keep doing it the same way you've always been doing it because it's the same way you've always been doing it. My dad, my granddad, my grandpappy, my great-grandpappy, my great-great-great-great-great-great-grandpappy. They were all wrong, so I'm going to be wrong. And I want to stay wrong because it's too hard to be right. We're at this place. There's 7 billion on the planet. Half of them worship these guys. And let's be really, really optimistic tonight, okay? Let's say that out of that 3.5 billion people, and let's just say it's 3 billion because the math is easy. Let's say it's 3 billion. And let's say that we get, if we were going to be really, really optimistic, 10% of the people realize that they've been worshiping Rome and they changed it. What's 10% of 3 billion? Is it 300,000 or is it 3 million? It's 3 million, isn't it? Let me see. How do you do 3 billion? What is that? How many zeros is in a billion? There's 6 zeros in a million. Can we just say it's a hell of a lot of people? But let's be honest, we're not going to get 10% of the 3 billion that worship Rome to come our way. We're not. We probably won't even get 1% of the people that worship Rome to come our way. What's 1% of 3 billion? Somebody tell me. I don't know. I'm a Bible college graduate, not a math major. But even if we got 1% of 3 billion, that's a lot of people. A lot of people. And unfortunately, it's not going to happen. Somebody tell me, what is 1% of 3 billion? Let's try. Oh, it's 300 million is 1% of 3 billion. Look it up. Yeah, I know. Let me try this. Hey, Google, what's 1% of 3 billion?
The answer is 30
Ooh!
million.
30 million people. Cousins, come on. I'm an optimistic guy. But there's no damn way we get 30 million people believing this, waking up to reality. 30 million? Maybe we do. Let's say it's 30 million. But still, if you've got 7 billion on the planet and 30 million of them, and you still got 300, I asked it wasn't eavesdropping. You still win, man. If you got 3.477 billion going your way and 300 million go the other way, do you really care? No, you don't really care. So if these guys are just running a cycle and the cycle's up and they tell the truth because they have to through natural law, they have to disclose, we find out like we're destined to find out. We do our best to get the word out. And if we were ridiculously successful, and maybe we can be ridiculously successful. If I sent out a postcard that said, please give me $5, about 2% of the people I send it to would do it. Maybe direct mail is about a 2% return. So if we're only half as good as direct mail, maybe we do get a 1%. Maybe we do get 300 million people worldwide to believe us. I think we do. I think we can. Let's say we can. But still, what do they care? They lose 300 million of us. And really, folks, we're pains in the asses anyway. That's why Odyssey Radio kicked me off. I'm too big of a pain in the ass. I'm dropping too much truth. It's upsetting Bible Belt advertisers. And these guys aren't in it for spreading the truth. They're in it for making some money. So it's easier to get rid of people like me. It's easier to get rid of people like you. And it's easier. You know what? Do you know what the Matrix builders are saying when they lose 300 million of us? They're saying, well, bye. And they're probably saying, thank God they're gone. Because 300 million of us, we move on to the next place and start doing bigger and better things. Maybe this is their little domain. Maybe this is their little prison planet where they get to just do what they do and keep doing it as long as people will do it with them and for them. So maybe they don't really care that they're going to lose 300 million of us. Because there'll be another crowd of people that will listen to the stories and will listen to the lies and won't ask questions and will be broken enough and shattered enough and hurting enough and pathetic enough to keep following the Pied Pipers, the Begleys, the Marzulis, the Clarks, the Quails, the Nanyas, and the other insignificant ones that aren't worth mentioning. There'll always be people to follow them. And the people that are of that ilk, they'll just sit back and relax because they know there's a whole new crop coming next time around. I just kind of came to that way of thinking over the last couple of hours. Because this originally said that, I'll just show it to you to prove to you that I'm not evangelistically speaking. I gave that up. See, I wrote that, and why now and why in plain sight are they telling us about two popes? They're out of time. The last days agenda's this close to being a failure. And then I sat down when we got here and I wrote, or is it? Will they really lose their sheep? Maybe they're not losing anything. Here comes a new crop. Here comes a new flock. And they don't look at it as losing 300 million. They look at it as gaining 3.47 billion or 30 million, whatever it is. They don't look at it as losing a few million. They look at it as gaining 3.47 billion. You run that for a few cycles and you got soul farms that will last for a long, long time. A long, long time. Maybe that's why they don't really care. Maybe that's why at the top of the food chain, they're not really that worried. The only people that are worried, the only people that are pressing, the only people that are getting a little beside themselves are the peons on the low levels that are on YouTube and in the churches wearing the dresses and the funny hats that are going to lose their followings and lose their flocks and lose their subscribers, because that is going to happen. It's coming true, and people are waking up and people are checking out and they're saying, this is silly. I'm not going to do it. I'm going to set myself free. But guess what? They know that there's another crop of dummies coming right behind this crop of people, some of which got together and got it right. But and I was talking with Tony Sayers about this earlier today, it still bothers me when people won't wake up and smell the coffee. It still bothers me when you can present truth to people and they look at you either with that blank stare. Now, the blank stare doesn't bother me because the blank stare means you're getting through. When they look at you and say, they look at you and, or they look at you and like, pfft. When they know that they know, and you know that they're buying the bull. And they don't care. They'd rather live in peaceful, comfortable, and it's not even comfortable. They'd rather be, that old saying that people used to say, well, if I go to hell, that's all right. At least I'll be there with my friends. You know what? These people really think that way. They would rather live in a cage and live together with people of like thought than to actually have to take responsibility for their own lives and learn and seek on their own. BB5 says, please don't send hate. Just a question. Does this group believe in Jesus, but just don't like the idea of religion? Well, BB5, about 3 years ago, I'd have said yes, but maybe you don't know where you are or what you stumbled into. But what you stumbled into is a profound gathering of people that have figured out the fact. And I say fact, and you can decide for yourself by listening to probably the last 10 videos I made. That's all it takes is the last 10. I made 2,500. You don't have to listen to all of them. Listen to the last 10, BB5, if you really want to know. And you'll find out that Rome invented Jesus. Rome wrote the New Testament. Everything that they are telling you about the last days and end time prophecy to come is a lie. And the ones that are telling you know it, in that it's all trying to get you to worship Rome, Caesar, call him pastor, call him priest, call him pope, call him Jesus, just worship them. Don't realize that you're divine, you're sovereign, you're free. Believe you've got original sin, not that you have the spark of divinity within. Believe that you're a sinner that needs to be saved instead of believing that you got the kingdom of God within you. That's what this channel is about. Do we believe in Jesus? Yes, we believe in Jesus. He was an invention of the Romans, and the real Jesus was Titus. The ministry of Jesus is a literary analogy of the military campaigns of Titus. And the reason Jesus was invented was to get you to worship a Roman emperor as your God without even knowing that you did it, because it'd be really fun to make you look so dumb. And there you have it. And now you're finding out that you've done it, and you're finding out that you're dumb, and you get to decide if you want to stay dumb or not. That's really it in a nutshell. That's really it in a nutshell. And the bottom line is, BB5, they don't care really what you decide, because there'll be a BB 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 along right after you. Contestants or participants in soul farms are just like buses. There'll be another one along every 3 minutes. So it doesn't really matter what happens to any one particular. They don't really care. So are they really losing? They're losing all the way to the bank. They've gained in this cycle 347 billion or 3.47 billion, and that's just it's on the earth right now. How many have they gained times 1,000 over the whole cycle? Oh, wow. No wonder they're not worried. It's very, very interesting to start thinking about things like this. It's very, very humbling too, because maybe we're not as important as we thought we were in this realm, but we're even more important to get out of this realm, knowing what we know and to come back into this realm and help people get out of it, or to go to other realms and help people do other things. I don't know, but it sure is interesting, and it sure makes a lot more sense than some dead guy on a stick. Let me bathe myself in his blood. Let me accept a couple spirits into my heart and let them possess me. Let me eat some flesh, drink some blood, sell my soul, and poof, I'm saved. Wow. Which one makes more sense, ladies and gentlemen? This is interesting. This is really, really interesting. And that's what it all boils down to. Do you think they think they're losing? Do you think that they're worried about losing us? Do you think that they think that maybe this time we're going to take more than usual and they're mad, they're worried? Or do you think they're just waiting for the cycle to end so they can run it all back again? What do you think? What do you think? Feel free to throw in your answers. I'm going to go to some answers and comments within the chat room. I feel like we've been given the keys to something. I do too, Lisa. I can't help shake that feeling that this is different, this is special, but maybe everybody thinks they're different, and maybe everybody thinks they're special, but I just think that sometimes this could be it. They'll say we had a good run, says Tracy Dyer. Yeah, I do believe Kujam says, and a historical person who was made to be God embellished into a more figure of ancient times. That's all right, Kujam. You have the right to be wrong. But I will tell you, Kujam, you believe that because of confirmation bias. You believe that because you've been taught a Jesus. You believe a Jesus. You bought a Jesus. If you ever get to complete real objectivity, you won't find the need to find that because you're not studying to find out what history says. You're studying to prove what you believe or to find room for what you believe. You're studying to try to prove that you're not a dummy. Cousin, give it up, because in the end, we all were dummies. All of us that bought this Christian thing, we were dummies. We were dummies. We deserved the funny hats. We were smart enough to take them off, but we deserved it. We are dummies. We got played. We got fooled. But at least we realized it. Quit trying to justify what you believed and realize, oh, they got me, and just let it go. Lisa says she's definitely special. Javanka's not coming back. Let's see. TT thinks the good news is going to have an effect. I hope so. Yes, cycle, rinse, wash, repeat. That's what it very well could be, ladies and gentlemen. So what happens next? Will everybody start waking up faster? Well, that's our hope, Nancy. Maybe some of us, each cycle, some of us, and let's just say it's 30 million every cycle. And if we go over the whole 1,000 years, let's be optimistic and say maybe it's 40 million per cycle, or maybe it's 50 million per cycle. Let's just say it's 50 million per cycle. We'll be really optimistic. Maybe how many of that 50 million decides to come back and help? Maybe it is cumulative. Maybe this is the time where we really take a bite out of crime. Maybe this is the time where we really do make a huge impact, and we shouldn't lose hope for that. That's a very, very good point. Very, very good point. I like that. I've always been here since the beginning of humans, says Jovanka. You've always been here, huh? That's kind of interesting. It's time to execute them. Every damn one of them, says Kim. I don't know about that. Yeah, we're sorry for the loss that Wendy's endured. Please send your good intentions towards her. I think they may be falling to the wayside. I hope so. I really do. And it really doesn't matter, but I hope so. Jeff, the detoxinator. Thank you. I appreciate that, Sky Energy. I think the number of people who go to church versus people who truly believe is vast. A lot of people go just because of social pressure, says Toddy Chip. That's probably true as well. Let's see. Remote view class. Christ story repeats in most cultures, different names. It's a metaphor on many levels. That's yes and no, but no, mostly. Salvation's choosing not to stay dumb. I like that. I like that. I actually really hope Jeff does come to Monica's with the rods. Don't read that in the wrong way, ladies and gentlemen. She lives out in the middle of a forest, and that would be a good time. Religion is a belief, not a god. I like that, says Dragons Rise. After that, Jeff can just drop the mic and walk away. Probably should have. Absolutely. Jesus was created to control the masses. Absolutely, Claudette. Absolutely. Like a character in a movie, exactly like a character in a movie. Serial Dog, great. Let's see. If they disbanded the Vatican and sold it off, they would be trillionaires. Yeah. There's some things that are worth more than money, ladies and gentlemen. Why do you care for the burden of others? Your job is to show them the door. Well, Lucky Stone, when you do what I do, you'll know. You'll understand. You'll understand. Let's see. Cynthia was a Christian until just over 2 years ago. I didn't know that. Yes, I did. Let's see. What else we got here? Real-time delivery is the key. Interesting. A sucker's born every day. I am Nancy. Lots of suckers are born every single day. Lots of suckers are born every single day. Let's see. The Old Testament is a Sumerian ripoff. You're right, Henry. Absolutely true. Is the Old Testament true or false? Well, yes and no. And it looks like Daniel hit it pretty on. Joseph Atwell would argue that some of it was backdated to make Daniel look right, but Daniel still saw some stuff, I think. But Daniel was different. Daniel was a powerful magician. Daniel was a seer. I think Daniel might have actually hit some of it, but Joseph Atwell wouldn't quite agree with me on that one, and that's okay. Let's see. Jesus must be extremely old and well-tested concept in the universe, a perfect working part of mind control. Ooh, Lucas, very, very good. That's great stuff. That is really, really great stuff. Really, really great stuff. Let's see what else we got here. 1% of the 1% is more realistic. Yeah, I'm with you, Lifeguard and Hepketo, but let's be optimistic. Let's be optimistic, ladies and gentlemen. Let's be apt to be optimistic. How about that? Let's see what else we got. What else we got? What else do we got? Tracy Dyer doubts there's 7 billion on Earth. I would probably agree with you. So there you go, ladies and gentlemen. Why did they do the 2 Pope reveal? Well, now we know why they did the 2 Pope reveal. What does it mean to the last days? What does it mean to end times? Well, the last days and the end times happened in AD 70. I put that in there kind of to bring people in that wouldn't come in so they could hear this message. They're still going to win. I hate to say it. They're still going to win. They still take home most of the toys. But our job is to get the message out to as many people as possible. That's why I'm going to start going on to a terrestrial radio. I have a plan. I want to try to get this message out to as many people as possible. And I'm going to be asking you in one way or another to help that. I may start a second hour club, if you will, and use all the proceeds from that towards radio time. And if you do want to get these Mystech bracelets, which keep you in the Schumann resonance, which put your cells in harmony instead of chaos, or the Focus Life Force Energy, which beams a more nurturing environment to your house or around your cell phone, or if you want to get the C60 that we've talked about at c60purplepower.com, and if you want to smell good while you're getting good, go to jeffreydaugherty.com, click on the logos of the sponsors there, including Hero Soap, Let Freedom Clean. What good is it to get spiritually free if you still stink? Free your butt and your mind will follow. And nobody wants a stinky butt, ladies and gentlemen. I want to talk next time about those 1,000 years that I'm pretty sure has been added. I'm pretty sure there is proof of it. And we know the why of it now. We know the why of it. The why of it is because they had 1,000 years. It was 1,000-year cycle that they got to rule. At the end of that 1,000 years, we get a little bit of time to go out and try to snare as many people with reality to try to get them out of this mind matrix. But see, they're playing with house money. Mark Twain said it's easier to fool people. They got to fool people than it is to convince people they've been fooled. We get to try to go out and convince people they've been fooled. It's a lot harder, but that doesn't mean that we're not going to stop trying, ladies and gentlemen. In fact, we're going to try harder and we're going to do more. And I guess really last days, it's our last days to be able to effect a change in the people on this planet. It's our end times for the opportunity to effect a change in people's lives. So we should be more motivated to do more, say more, tell more. We know we're pretty solid in ourselves. We know we're going to get out of here if we want to go. We know we're divine, we're sovereign, we're free. And when our physical life ends, we know that we're going to go where we want to go. Our last days, our end times means helping get this message of divinity, sovereignty, and freedom to as many people as possible so they can opt out of the soul farm. Earth is a soul farm run by these guys, and they're showing us it maybe because it's the end of their cycle, and at the end of the cycle, they have to show us so that they just have to show it because it's natural law and they've got to tell it. But we're here this time. And it's funny because the last cycle, let me think of something. The last cycle was 70 AD is when it started. So, wow, this is interesting. I wonder what happened in 70 AD. Anyway, that's too deep. But this is our cycle, and we're responsible for our cycle. And we're responsible for getting the message out. We're the leaders, not the followers. So let's get the message out. Let's lead and let's let those that follow. But it might be time, ladies and gentlemen. It might be time to quit worrying about those that have already heard the message and have said, no thanks. It might be time to forget the swine. You know the old saying, don't cast your pearls before swine. I think it should say, don't cast your pearls before swine more than once. Because you cast your pearl before a swine to find out if it's a swine. But then if it doesn't accept it, you just move on. Because if you cast them again, that's when they start turning and rending you. They attack you. Oh, I've seen that happen. We're here to deliver the message. We deliver the message to everybody, including the swine, one time. And then we keep moving on to the next people that haven't heard it. Wow. We do have a job, Lisa Gallant. You're exactly right. Very, very interesting. And it's so interesting when you think about how religion, these guys, that's why debate is futile. That's exactly what I was thinking, Tracy. I just have to I want to debate these people because their followers are being deceived and their followers are going to be kept in a soul farm. But it almost is worthless. It almost is worthless because, we know the battle that I go through. But think of what's happening here, and I'm going to close with this. The people that are the neo-Jesuit, they like life on the farm. Thank God I'm a country boy. That's what these guys are singing. Begley's followers, Brother Breaker's followers, Nanya's followers. Thank God I'm a country boy. Well, I keep trying to remember the words of that song. Oh, we'll close with this. I'm gonna pull up those and give us some renditions of "Thank God." Thank God I'm a country boy. Anyway, we'll talk about that in a little bit, but thank God I'm a country boy. But here's the thing. If you think about what's going on with these neo-Jesuit end time liars, and that's what they are, neo-Jesuit end time liars. They're teaching you this end time prophecy, which they know it already ended in AD 70, but they want you to believe that it's coming up in the future because they want you afraid. And if you're afraid and you're trying to save your own hindquarters, you're not going to worry about helping anybody else. See, that's the psychology. When they talk to you about collapse is coming, when they talk to you about tribulation is coming, when they talk to you about hard times are coming, they're trying to scare you, because if they can get you and keep you in fear, then you are not going to help anybody else get out of here. You're just worried about your own hindquarters. It's selfish, ladies and gentlemen. But when you know that prophecy is history, literally, then it becomes and you know what it is? You know what this end time prophecy crowd is? It's service to self. Oh, head chopping's coming, collapse is coming, calamity's coming, bad stuff's happening. We got to take care of our own butts. Everybody reach back and grab your own butt and run. Save it, save it. You're worried about you, and that's all you're worried about. But when you realize that prophecy is history, and you realize all these other people think it's coming and they're afraid, then you feel compelled to tell them, no, they're tricking you. And that's what we do. We're in the truth-telling business, and cousins, that business is a booming. We're not liars like the rest of them. We're not selfish like the rest of them. They're in service to self. We're in service to others. But they like life on a farm, because life on the farm is kind of laid back. There ain't nothing that some country boys and girls like us can't hack. Early to rise, early in the sack. Thank God I'm a soul farm boy. Well, a simple life never did them no harm. They're just raising a family, working on the soul farm. Their days are filled with country charms. Thank God they're soul farm boys. They got them a wife. They got them a fiddle. They're smoking some drugs, and the cakes are on the griddle. They all got funny, funny little hats. Thank God they're country boys. When the work's all done and the sun's setting low, they pull out their instruments. They rosin up the bow. The kids are asleep, and they are too. Thank God they're a country boy. They like life on the farm. They like knowing that there's a shepherd to guide them. They like knowing that there's somebody that gets a message from an entity. They like knowing that there's somebody to tell them all of the truth. And they don't want to hear what the reality is, because they're happy on the farm. Well, if you are thanking God that you're a country boy, go ahead and enjoy yourself, because we're not gonna, our rural evangelization program is over. You notice they all wear funny hats. I just noticed that. That's interesting. All right, guys. So that's the two popes reveal. And that's what it means for the last days. That's what it means for the end times. Joe Bonka says it's just not their time. Life ain't nothing but a funny, funny riddle. Yep. It just ain't their time. But let me say this, just to kind of encourage us. If this ain't their time, there's even less chance that next time is their time. If this ain't their time, the chances are even better that next time ain't their time. Because energy doesn't die, but it does dissipate. You keep coming back and coming back and coming back and coming back. And finally, you don't have the juice anymore to come back. You don't have the juice anymore to get out, and you're of no use with no juice. So you just go back into the compost of the soul farm. So if you are listening to me, and even though you laugh at me, change a bunch of different names and come on here and give me crap, those little hats need propellers. Even though you make fun of me and talk bad about me, there's that little thing in your chest that says, damn, something about him sounds right. You better listen to it. You better listen to it. Because you got two choices. Either you listen to it or do something about it, or don't listen to it, and it will go away. It won't bother you anymore. But then it really is all over but the shouting, ladies and gentlemen. I don't want you to get to that place. So this is Jeffrey Daugherty one last time saying, if you're here for a reason. And hopefully it's not just because one of your gurus told you to go over here and tell her or him what I'm saying. That could be. I hope it's not just because you're here to troll and make fun. And it really isn't, even if you think it is. You're here to hear, H-E-A-R. You're here to hear. And if you're here, you're still capable of hearing. And if you are here to hear, then you can get out of here. And maybe next time you won't hear anymore. And then you're here. Here. There's two popes. They've revealed it to you. The Black Pope, the Jesuit's always been in charge. They revealed that to you now because the Jesuit is out front and in charge. They meant for all of this to be revealed, just like they meant for the fact that they wrote the New Testament as an allegory to fool you. They meant for you to find that out. They meant for you to discover it. And it is the Jesuits, Tracy. You're right. And over the next few weeks and months, we will show you. I'm here for the John Denver renditions. Well, thank God I'm a country boy. They knew you'd find out. They knew you'd find out. But they just don't think you'll have the guts to do anything about it. I think they're wrong. I think they're wrong. Life ain't nothing but a funny, funny riddle. But we solved it. Woo! Thank God I'm not a country boy. Yeah! That's the end of the song. And how about this? It said that Nero played a fiddle while Rome burned. This guru that you listen to that's talking about the end times and the last days and all that stuff, he's fiddling, she's fiddling while you burn in the soul farm, and they warm their hands on your energy. Haven't you had enough? It's time to get off the farm, cousins. It's time to get off the farm. I'm Jeffrey Daugherty, the Christian Whistleblower. You are the last generation of real humans. And I'm here to inspire you to realize you're divine, you're sovereign, you're free. I'm here to push you. I used to shove. I'm not going to shove anymore, but maybe a wee little nudge you to guide your own spirit, master your own ascension, be your own guru. I'm here to get you to leave the soul farm. I'm here to help you unindoctrinate yourself And like Mark Twain said, man, it's a lot easier to fool somebody than it is to convince them they've been fooled. That doesn't mean that me and the 40,000 plus of us are going to stop trying. In fact, we're just getting started. We're in the life-changing business, cousins, and that business is booming. I salute you for being here, seeking after truth. And until next time, there's never been a better time to unindoctrinate yourself.